I am here with Geoffrey Kent, Chairman of World Travel and Tourism Council and Chairman and CEO of Abercrombie & Kent. Welcome.
That's exactly right. Thank you very much, Charlie. It's good to be here.
It's a pleasure to be with you and to have an opportunity to learn how WTTC's summit this weekend is going to impact the travel and tourism industry, you think, in this era of growth, as the theme of this summit is about.
Well, first of all, it's a great privilege to be here with all of our members. As you know, we have 100 members from the private sector, and we represent all the most powerful areas of the private sector on a global basis. And when you get a forum like this all together, and you have these 100 brains putting it all in, and our whole aim is to work out how the private sector works with the government sector. And the theme of our conference this year is breaking barriers, managing growth. It's ironic that last summit when we were here in Portugal, and I think it was in 2003, was when we'd gone with the whole world of tourism. We'd gone through some very, very difficult times, from 9/11 to SARS, and actually everybody then was almost predicting the end of this industry. It was very, very dire. So it's kind of amazing to be back here now, and everyone's saying, "Hey, we're going too fast." So, I think, as all of us in business, it never rains but it pours, and we've always got a problem to sort out. But this is a nice problem, and I think you can see on people's faces we're enjoying the problem, but it's a problem all the same. And our problems are what we have to face when you have a growing business like this, is the infrastructure and the environment. Because if you don't handle both of them properly, you're going to have some damage.
Is WTTC, its leadership, happy? First, I should say, I believe WTTC has done an amazing job in raising awareness around governments throughout the world about the importance of tourism. I think a peak event was last year's summit in Washington, D.C., where we had Condoleezza Rice and Chernoff, head of our Homeland Security, speak to the summit group. So impact, but I have a feeling the leadership is not quite happy that you haven't done enough, that your goals are higher.
Oh, you mean whose leadership? Our leadership?
Yes, WTTC's leadership.
WTTC. I think that, I'm a founder member of WTTC, all right? And when we set up in 1991, there were 10 of us. We went to a very nice restaurant in Paris, and we had some great ideas of what we're going to be doing, all right? Here we are with, 700 delegates. So I think that every organization grows and matures in stages. I actually think the WTTC is ready for takeoff. We have 100 members, the first time ever, all right? And that was our limit. So we're at a full limit of our membership. And I think that I think even for, as you'll see from the summit, that governments are listening to us now. I think that our travel satellite accounting has been a good sort of a barometer for governments to really, if it rationalize, as it were, the importance of travel and tourism to their economies. And now we have that. It's all mature. It's not an idea anymore. So I think what you're seeing in WTTC is actually this summit here is what I call the summit of takeoff. I'm very happy that I'm chairman over the next 2 years, because hopefully I'll be piloting as chairman with, of course, Jean-Claude, our president and CEO, this takeoff. But I think you're going to see WTTC become more and more prominent and more important. And I think governments are going to listen to us a great deal more.
About Abercrombie & Kent, in today's tourism industry and really the hot topic around the world is carbon and greenhouse and so forth, and ecotourism. And next week we have our global ecotourism conference up in Oslo. Abercrombie & Kent has always been, and you're going to tell me more about it, I'm sure. I was going to use the word fringes, from fringes to being very involved in ecotourism, I think, over the decades. Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Certainly. I have always been very, very interested in the environment. In fact, we started Friends of Conservation in 1982, which is an NGO, and our own. It's a not-for-profit organization, and we have always made sure that Friends of Conservation works hand in hand with Abercrombie and Kent. So that when we, for instance, Chiefs Camp, which we built in Botswana, we made sure that when we built that whole camp, that not one piece of concrete was put down anywhere. So the airstrip, there's no concrete. Everything, the whole camp is made out of canvas, compressed woods, rope, and yet it's now number 2 in the world in the Condé Nast Travel Awards, right? But no concrete at all. And yet it's a 5-star luxury place. And so I believe, and also when we build any project, we always make sure through Friends of Conservation that we have a school nearby. We work on AIDS programs in Botswana. And so I think it's very, very important for a corporate responsibility in our industry that wherever we do, go into nature, that we give back to it in the form of some sort of form, be it schooling, education, or AIDS awareness.
Do you think all of this talk about green and carbon and sustainable tourism is a fad, or are we really seeing momentum taking hold?
No, I mean, I've been talking about it for years. I think that my barometer, as it were, I read a lot and see a lot, but we had 2 barometers, right? One of which we pioneered Antarctic, and we've had a ship going down there for 27 years. And for instance, our captain 27 years ago couldn't circumnavigate Ross Island, and now he can. And we took the 60-minute crew down a month ago. We did that 60-minute show. I don't know if you saw it. They went down on our Explorer 2 and did all the drilling samples, and they came back with I think a fairly devastating tale on the glaciers. Also, of course, I'm a Kenyan by birth. I grew up in Kenya, started Abercrombie and Kent in Kenya, and I climbed Kilimanjaro when I was about 16 years old. And when I climbed it then, I remember very well, because it was really cold, the snow was easily halfway down the